It has been a busy and productive day. And I celebrate more than anything the shift in my energy from yesterday to today. Yesterday, it was hard to focus. It was really hard to do anything. And today I woke up, I said a prayer, and called upon the ancestors to give me the energy to move forward with the renewed sense of purpose. And I had a really phenomenal meeting and school visit this morning. I was able to get some work done for MBJC, including a campaign that we are going to be engaging in to raise awareness about a brother who, was shot execution style in a parish outside of New Orleans. We believe for being both Black and gay. Had a great call with a new funder that I'm excited to share more about on the 30th. Stay tuned. And then did some other things that I am responsible for, including advocating for some unnecessary fees that I was assessed to be removed, which happened. A reminder to ask for things. And then on my way to my final destination, I'm about to run out of a meeting in a half an hour. I see a group of kids that are extremely excited, and I think to myself, please don't let them be fighting. And as soon as I pull ahead enough to be able to see them, of course, there are two young people in the middle of this large circle. The vast majority of kids who are around them are screaming and are recording the fight on their phone. And I literally stopped in the middle of traffic, put my car in park. I'm thankful that when I open the door, it does that automatically because I don't know that I've processed that. And then jumped in the middle of this mob. It was a mob of kids. And I mean that in the purest sense of the term, not the way that the media usually uses words as weapons against Black babies. And I begged the two of them to just stop. And I wanted to be real about the fact that I don't know either of them enough to be able to offer meaningful advice about how they could otherwise work through whether they drove them to the point of saying, let's figure this shit out on the sidewalk after school. But I wanted to, and I just essentially begged everybody else to think about the consequences of taping that shit. As a child that grew up in Inglewood, California, who was a nerd, I invited physical confrontation. In part because my mama said you don't take no shit from somebody. But I also felt like I was taught that bullying was normal and that a rite of passage for me as a Black man, now as a Black same-gender loving man who thinks a lot about how that might have shown up in ways that I was not aware of as a child. I felt like I had an obligation to fight. Literally and figuratively. But when I think about all of the challenges that our babies face, all of the ways that the state, that institutions that are justified by and justify the state, all of the individuals who see themselves as state actors, school resource officers, police officers, folks who appoint themselves into those positions, like that asshole in Florida that thought it appropriate to kill Trayvon Martin. Whose name I will never speak again. There are so many forces, including the occupant of the Oval Office, who are literally every day thinking about how to attack our babies. The last thing they need to be focused on is attacking each other. And so I am struggling with not being connected to them in any meaningful way. And in this moment, I wish that I had been more observant to have been able to engage in conversation with one of the babies to figure out what school they went to. Actually, I might go back to see if I can figure this out. But I say this to say to other caring and concerned adults, be mindful. I'm mindful of my privilege. I'm a 6'5" Black man who, if I'm not smiling, I like to think can be intimidating. I don't know with these Basquiat nails. But I'm aware of my privilege and what it meant for me to put my body on the line in that space. Everybody's not capable of that. But we all have some way of disrupting these moments when our babies are screaming for help, especially when they're screaming in such visible ways, right? Like, I don't know if either of those babies or their friends thought about the consequences of the cops being called to intercede in what otherwise should have been a playground fight. There's so much more that I could say about this, and a part of this is just acknowledging that both my heart is racing because of what I experienced, and my heart is also breaking because I know that this is not a one-off experience and our babies need so much from us. It'll be my job to channel this energy positively and to put it into the work, and to not become lulled into the pain of being numb or otherwise feeling like trying to swim upstream and solve the problem rather than continuing to bandage it or respond to it is not worth anything, in particular the use of my my time and my energy, because I know that the exact opposite is true. Let me go see if I can find these babies.